I'm Chef Ben, and this is Dinner with Ben, brought to you by Ashworks Cutting Boards and T-North Carbonated Iced Tea. This is episode 11, and today we will be making bacon wrapped pork tenderloin with a warm corn and potato salad and peach crumble. So things are set up a little differently today. As you can tell, the angle of the camera is a little differently. I have a screen over here that is a little different. I usually have one down here. The screen over here is a much older computer and it is not working very well, so I'm going to try and make sure I can read your comments, but I can't promise I'll get to them all today. But we are working on it. Hi Suze, yes I can see that, thank you very much. Welcome. Okay, so we're just going to give it a couple of minutes for some more people to join in, and then we will get going. I should say today as well, we are doing a giveaway of these lovely T-North cans. It's a 6-pack, it's mixed, so it's 6 different flavors. This is the only place in the entire world where you can get that, so that's very exciting. You can't even buy it in stores, and we'll do that a little bit later on. And if you do win, and you live in the HRM, I will personally deliver it to your house. Otherwise, I will mail it to you. That's the deal. So we'll get to that in a little while. In the meantime, let's get going on this stuff. So the first thing we need to do is preheat the oven to 375. Okay? Oven on to 375. And then we're going to clean our pork tenderloin. So I'm actually going to do 2 pork tenderloins. You only have to do 1, but I'm going to do 2 because I bought these. They were previously frozen, so I don't really want to refreeze them. So I'm going to take these out of here. Get rid of that. So pork tenderloin has this little piece of fat here. And underneath this, there is a white strip that runs to about here. And it's called elasticin. You can't chew it, it doesn't really break down in cooking. So if you leave that on, you're going to bite into the pork tenderloin. It's going to be really chewy. You're not going to be able to eat it in that part. Hello Patrick, thanks for joining us. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to clean off this little bit of elasticin. Now it's going to seem like kind of a waste, but I promise you, you don't really want to eat it. So there's a couple ways to do this. The way I like to do is kind of just take the tip of my knife. You can kind of see, let me see if I can show you here. You'll be able to see it in a sec. So I'll just take the tip of my knife and run it under. So what I'm talking about here is this stuff right here. So this white bit, and you can see some more of it right there, that's not going to break down in cooking. So we're just going to cut it out. And you can, when you do this, just kind of angle your knife slightly up. Your knife probably isn't going to cut through it, so you don't have to worry. And same thing, we're going to go down and just let the kind of elasticin guide you. And then there we go. So we've removed that part, and then we just have our tenderloin. And we'll do the same thing on this one, which is kind of mangled. This one got beat up a little bit when they were butchering it, but that is okay. So again, I just have the oven on 375. And once we get to cooking these, they're not going to take long at all. So again, we'll just let that kind of guide us. And there we go. So we can trim the ends off this. If I was in a restaurant right now, I'd trim the ends off and just kind of square everything up. We don't really need to do that. I mean, we have no other use for it, so we might as well just leave them on. Now I'm just going to give my board and my knife a quick wipe. And with these Ashworks boards, it's recommended that you just kind of wash it like you would your kitchen counter. So you don't have to go crazy. You definitely don't want to soak it in water. Just, use a soapy cloth, wash it down, and then rinse it off. That's it. And I just have hot soapy water in the sink there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of plastic wrap down on our cutting board here. Now, we're going to kind of look at the length of our tenderloin, we'll line it up, and we're going to take some bacon, and we're just going to kind of mark out the beginning and the end of the tenderloin. Now where it gets really, really narrow at the end, you're not going to want to wrap that in bacon, it's just going to kind of fall apart. So then all we're going to do is put the bacon down and overlap it by about a quarter. I should leave that one there. So I'm just going to lay this down. And again, the oven is on 375. I've already cleaned a little bit of elasticin out of the pork tenderloin, which is kind of the undigestible or uncookable bit. And we're just, again, just overlapping this bacon onto a piece of plastic wrap. I'm just going to take this last piece, overlap it, and we're going to take our tenderloin and put it right in the middle. Bacon, maybe this one is not. Yeah, I'm just going to tighten this up a bit, take away 2 strips. There we go. Now it doesn't matter like what part of the tenderloin you start with here. It's really not going to matter. But we're just starting at the very back of the bacon. I'm just going to season it with salt and pepper. Not too much salt because the bacon is pretty salty. And just a touch of olive oil. That was a little more than a touch. And then we're just going to roll. And once you get the bacon all the way over, pull it nice and tight. And then roll again. And then at a half turn, pull it nice and tight. Hey Joel, thanks for joining me. And then again, nice and tight. Pull nice and tight. And we're going to come back. And we're just going to seal it in the plastic wrap. Now you can do this a day ahead. And just have this in the fridge ready to go, like if you're having a dinner party or something. Works really well. And all I'm doing is just kind of tightening this up. And I'm just going to let that sit for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to do my second tenderloin. Okay. Who is that? There's a comment here, I'm not sure who it is, but hello, thank you. They claim to be my heckler. Perfect. Yeah. So again, the setup is a little different this week. I have the camera at a different angle. I have a screen over here. Just trying something a little bit different. Somehow my old laptop got destroyed, and I had to use a very old laptop, so I'm not sure if it's going to work, but it seems to so far. So again, the tenderloin is at the back of the bacon. The bacon is just overlapped. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 slices. And I'm just going to season it. And you can put herbs in here as well. A little bit of thyme, sage, rosemary, whatever you want would be really nice. I'm just going to season this with salt and pepper. And then just a little bit of olive oil. So the reason bacon wrapped pork tenderloin is really common is because tenderloin doesn't have like any fat in it. So the bacon actually adds that kind of juiciness and some flavor. To be quite honest with you, I don't really like pork tenderloin that much, but it's a fairly cheap piece of meat. I got these 2 on sale at my local butcher's. They were like $7 for the 2 of them or something like that. It was ridiculous. So I mean, they're fairly cheap. They're really easy to use, and people love them. I personally hate them because they just have very little flavor, very little fat. But having said that, that's why we're wrapping them in bacon. And again, once you get to that first turn, pull it tight, and then just keep doing that as you turn. Again, I'm doing 2. You only have to do 1. I just didn't want to freeze an already frozen pork. Okay, so we're going to just let that sit for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to give my board another wipe, and then I'm going to start the potatoes for the salad. Because once we start cooking the pork, it's really not going to take long. I'm going to sear it first, and we're going to pop it in the oven. And it's only going to be like a total of probably 15-20 minutes max. And I mean, even that's kind of probably going to be a little too much. So I'm just going to wipe the board down, and then we'll get started on the salad. Well, the potatoes, at least. So what we're going to do, actually let's talk about the dessert for a second. So we're going to make a peach crumble, and I said to get ramekins, or to use ramekins, because initially I was going to make individual portions. Then my sister was like, why? What do people don't have ramekins? She brings up a good point. So I'm actually going to do it in my small cast iron pan. You can just do it in a small roasting pan if you'd like. You know, whatever you want to do, that is completely up to you. If you want to do it in ramekins, that's fine as well. But I'm going to do it in a small cast iron. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get our potatoes cooking for our salad. So the salad is going to be a warm potato salad with corn and spinach and a few other things. So we'll get the potatoes cooking, and then we'll get everything prepped for the peach crumble. And we'll start cooking our pork, and then we'll get the dessert in the oven. The oven's ready. Okay, so potatoes. I just have these nice baby potatoes, baby red potatoes, and I'm just going to cut them in half, lengthwise. And you can use fingerling potatoes for this, it works very well. You can use any kind of baby potato. And this is, I said a whole bag, but I don't think I'm going to use it because it's just my wife and myself. If there's more of you, like if you're feeding 4 people, a whole bag would probably be a good idea. And yeah, I'm just going to cut them all. This is not very exciting, but that's okay. So let's call it there. So I cut about half of them and set this aside. I'm just going to rinse it with cold water first. And then fill it just about 1 inch over the potatoes with warm or hot water. Onto high on the stove, and then season with salt. So I teach cooking lessons. I go to people's houses and teach cooking lessons. And one thing I've noticed a lot of is people don't ever want to turn their burners on high for whatever reason. They might do it to boil water, but as soon as the water starts to boil to cook something, they'll turn it down. Don't do that. That's silly. I mean, like, if... I can't really think of an instance where you'd be cooking something like potatoes or pasta where you would bring it to a boil and then turn the heat down. Like, it's really not going to help you in any way, and it might actually kind of prolong the cooking process. The potatoes are going to absorb more water. Pasta will absorb more water. So just let it boil. It's going to go quicker. And the pasta, too, I mean, you want it to be agitating so it's not sticking. So you want that full boil. Don't be afraid of high on your stove. Just don't cook eggs on high, and don't most things you want to cook over a medium to medium high heat, but when you're boiling, high heat's the way to go. Just a little tip. Okay, peaches. So I have these beautiful peaches, and like an idiot, for some reason, I bought tree-ripened peaches. So these were about $1 billion. That was unnecessary, but they look really good, so that's good. And all I'm going to do is cut them up. So first, we're going to go around, and these are fully ripe, so the pit's going to come out fairly easily. See? Oh, this weird looking pit. So I'm just going to cut these in quarters. I have a paring knife. Pit kind of came out in the peach. So I'm just going to clean that off. Just like this. No need throwing the peach out. It's okay. It's fine to eat. Just a little soft in the center. And then I'm just going to kind of slice these. I'm going to leave the skins on them because that's how I like them. If you want to peel them, go ahead. That's up to you. And I mean, you want them about the same size, but this is not rocket science. You're not looking for perfection here. You just want nice, kind of even peaches. And I have 6 here, so I'm going to use all 6. If your peaches are smaller, that's fine. Oh, they're all doing it. You can use smaller peaches as well. So just so you know what I'm talking about, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the pit the outside of the pit came off in the center of the peach. I don't want to eat that, so I'm going to peel that out. Just carefully, don't waste any of the peach if you don't have to. Might as well just, when you're doing something like this, it's always easiest to do all of one step and then all of the other step and then all of the other step. Just for whatever reason, I find it's a lot quicker rather than switching between tasks. So instead of opening this one peach, pulling the pit out, and then slicing it and then doing another one, it's a lot quicker just to pull all the pits out and then slice them all. So these ones, I'm going to pull all the pits out, and then I'll go back and I'll clean all those centers out, and then I'll slice them all. And for the crumble, in the ingredients list, I said almond flour. I obviously can't eat gluten. Most of you guys know that. If you just want to use regular flour, go for it. Just use the same measurements. Almond flour is pretty expensive, so don't feel the need to use it if you don't want to. Just use regular flour. And I'm also using gluten-free oats, but again, you use whatever you want to use. So just cleaning these out. My cat's over here just going crazy, rolling around. I think I need an assistant. I think that's what I need. Somebody to do this stuff and I'll do something else. I mean, you can do it if you want, but I don't really have anything else to do. My wife's here looking at me. You want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
They can't hear or see you.
I heard you needed an assistant. Is it for cat pet?
Yeah. So my wife's going to take care of the cat because the cat's going crazy. And I'm just going to keep cleaning these peaches. I know this is super exciting to watch. We're getting through it. We're almost there. Okay. Now I'm going to slice it. So again, they don't have to be perfect. Just you want pretty much even slices. As even as you can get them. And then we're just going to toss these with a bit of cinnamon, a bit of brown sugar, and a bit of cornstarch. And the cornstarch is just going to kind of collect any of the juices and make like a sauce so that it's not just super runny and gross. So we slice, we slice, we slice. My wife's taking pictures of it. Just say hi to everybody, Jesus.
Said hi to everyone.
You're not even sure.
Yeah, I just got off from work.
My wife just got off work. That's
Hi.
why she's dressed like this. She's a massage therapist. She's taking my picture right now for some reason.
I'm trying to make a boomerang. That's you.
She's making boomerang. So the potatoes are just starting to boil. That is perfect. If we were going to roast them, we would stop them right now, drain them, and put them in the oven. But we're just going to boil them until they're cooked. We don't want them mushy. We just want them cooked through. I think I need a bigger bowl. Okay, bigger bowl. And I should say too, last week I said that I felt like I was getting the flu, or like a cold or something. I was out of commission for a few days. I could barely talk for a couple of days. I'm just kind of getting through it now. So if I'm a little loopy right now or frazzled, please forgive me. Your hands in my shoulder. I don't know what's happening. So I'm just going to put a quarter cup of brown sugar in here, which if you don't know is 4 tablespoons, which is what this guy is. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch as well. Make sure you get that all in there. And just a nice big pinch of cinnamon. Maybe 2 big pinches of cinnamon. And then just for good measure, we're going to add a pinch of salt. Okay. So we'll mix this up. Make sure the peaches are all evenly coated with the cornstarch and the sugar. And that sugar, along with the juice from the peaches, is going to kind of caramelize and give it a really, really nice flavor. So this is all mixed together. I'm going to take a small cast iron pan and take a bit of butter. And I'm just going to butter the pan so that it doesn't all stick in there. And the butter is going to help make a caramel as well. This butter is pretty soft, but it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty warm in here. That's alright. So I'm just going to rub this in here with my hands. Well, so that's probably more butter than I need in the pan, but you know what? Butter's going to make a caramel with the sugar and the syrup from the peaches, so why not? And we're just going to put this right in here. Beautiful. Okay, next step is we have to make the crumble topping. So, I'm going to use this bowl, give my board a little rinse. This is going to be really, really easy, really quick. So, first thing we're going to do is put about, sorry, I have to read the recipe. I didn't have this one memorized. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of butter in here. 2 big tablespoons. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so 2 big tablespoons of butter. We're going to put half a cup of rolled out oats. Sorry. Half a cup. Normally, I wouldn't actually measure this stuff, but I gave you guys measurements, so I want to make sure that I'm right on them. Normally, I would just kind of pour everything in the bowl, but because I gave you measurements, I want to make sure that we're making the same thing. Now I just have the almond flour here, and I'm going to put a half cup of this as well. And again, you can just use all-purpose flour if you'd like. almond flour in there. And also, this stuff, if you don't need it, don't buy it because it's like worth its weight in gold. It's about the same price. Okay, so now we're going to add some sugar to this as well. We're going to add about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So the same amount we put in the peaches, which again is 4 tablespoons. And then we added some cinnamon to the peaches, so we're going to add a nice big pinch of nutmeg to our crumble topping. Now, I prefer to use fresh nutmeg, fresh grated nutmeg, but I found that in my cupboard. It's been there a while, but it still tastes good, so I just kind of want to use it. But be careful when you use nutmeg because it's very easy to use too much of it, and then you just end up with everything that tastes like nutmeg, and that's pretty gross. So now, all we're going to do is mix this with our hands. We're going to break that butter up into the crumble. Make sure we get all that mixed in there. Smells good. Smells really good. And then that's what it looks like. It kind of looks like a loose granola, right? A loose, uncooked granola. So, there's one more small step. That I almost forgot, but I didn't. Which is we're going to put a little bit of lemon juice onto our peaches. Now, again, when you cut a lemon, rather than cutting it across the equator like you normally would, cut it north to south and just off center, and you get way more juice out of it. And the lemon juice in here is just going to add a little bit of brightness. It's going to bring that flavor up a bit. Okay, so we have our peaches with our brown sugar, butter, a little bit of cinnamon. Then we're going to add our crumble topping. And just loose, this isn't going to be like a super thick crumble, which is fine. You could always make a little bit more if you wanted. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and pop this in the oven. It's on 375, and it's going to take about, probably about a half hour. In the meantime, we're going to drain our potatoes. We should check them first. Yeah. Potatoes are done, so we'll drain those. Now we're just going to set those on the back and let them kind of steam dry a little bit because we don't want a ton of water in there. And next, we're going to start our pork. So we're going to get this pan nice and hot. You could just put this in a roasting pan, pop it right in the oven, and that would be fine. I prefer to sear it off first. Part of the reason is that we're going to sear the seam down, and that's going to actually seal the bacon a little bit and prevent the pork from opening. So I just need a drink of water here. Okay. So the salad we're going to make, we're just going to let the pan heat up for a few minutes. I'll talk about the salad. So the salad we're going to make is going to be kind of like a warm French potato salad. The French potato salads generally have like some wine in them, quite a bit of mustard, a lot of herbs. So we're going to do something similar. We're going to take this nice fresh corn, and we're going to cut the kernels off it. And to do that, I'm just going to stand it straight up. It's going to make a bit of a mess, but it's okay. And actually, we could use a paring knife, hold it over the bowl. Just start and just pull your hand. You're not moving your thumb, or your hand, your fingers rather. You're just kind of moving your whole hand. pulling it towards you and getting all the kernels off. We're just going to do that and sending corn everywhere. But that's part of the fun, guys. That's part of the fun of this. Is just making a big mess. So again, we're just kind of pulling up. We don't want to waste any of that delicious corn. Pretty much the last corn. Did you guys see that? I literally just dumped tons of corn on the floor. I mean, not literally tons, but you get the idea. So, clean cob. And we'll do the other one. This one's quite a bit smaller. There are tools you can get for this, but as you guys know, I don't really like tools that only have one job. I like to have multi-use things like knives. And you can use knives for everything. So I'm just going to set this here because I just dropped a peach pit. My compost is usually over here, but I don't have it. I put it over there and I can't get to it. So I'm just going to collect all my garbage for the next little while. Okay, my pan is getting hot. It's kind of smoking a little bit. I already have oil in that because it was seasoned. So all we're going to do is take our pork, unwrap them. And then one at a time, seam side down into the pan. And if you can't find the seam of the plastic wrap, just cut it. Okay. So we're not going to touch that. We want to just let that sit for a good 2 or 3 minutes because we want that bacon to sear. We want it to cook. So in the meantime, I'm going to do these couple of dishes while that's doing its thing. And then we'll come back to it in a second. And we're back. Okay. So the first one, yeah, they're not ready. Just look at that. I'm gonna grab a bowl from my compost here. Work clean, guys. Clean as you go, and then there's not a big mess at the end. It helps. Have a sink full of hot water. You know, it makes cooking way easier if you clean as you go. Okay, so we could flip that, but I'm actually just going to pop it in the oven right like that. This bacon is really wet. There's a lot of liquid in it for whatever reason. So it's just not searing properly. So if I try and flip that, it's going to come apart. So just bear that in mind. If you have bacon that's really dry, it'll sear perfectly and you'll be fine. If your bacon's wet, which if you buy in the grocery store, chances are it will be, you're probably not going to get the greatest sear, so just put it seam side down in the pan, sear it off, and then put it in the oven. I'm a little disappointed because I bought this bacon at the butcher shop, but there's not really too much you can do about it. So I'm just going to pop this right in the oven. I'm going to set 15-minute timer and then we'll check it. In the meantime, we can finish, or I guess kind of start our salad. The only thing we've done so far is our potato. So for the salad, we need onion, we need a couple cloves of garlic, we're going to use some green onion. I'm not going to need this whole onion at all. Probably won't even need half of it, but we'll use half. Now, I know that I pretty much go through this every time, but there's always new viewers, and it's always important to show them how to properly cut an onion. So, onion has a root end and the top. Top, obviously, that's kind of how it works. So we're going to leave the root intact, and we're going to cut the top off. Okay, just like that. Nothing too crazy. And we're going to put the onion flat so it's not rocking around on us. We're going to cut down right through the middle of the root. Okay? So right through the root, and that's what we're looking at. So again, this part is still intact, that part's gone. Okay? Give the board a little wipe. Now I'm just going to set one of these aside because I'm not going to need both. We're just going to peel the onion. And it's much easier to peel once you get to this point too, as opposed to trying to peel a whole onion, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Now, we don't want this onion cut too small, and we don't want it too big. We want all the pieces even. If they're not even, they're not going to cook evenly. You're going to get some big, like, crunchy bits of onion. You're going to get some, like, burnt bits. So, the way to cut the onion evenly, you'll see some people will just start slicing, and then they'll do this and this and this, and you end up with all these different size pieces of onions and shapes and everything. What we're going to do instead is we're going to cut this very evenly. So we're going to put our hand flat on the onion. We're not going to put pressure down. We're going to keep our fingers up. Knife with the handle off the edge of the board, it just makes it a lot easier. And we're just going to make 2 or 3 horizontal slices. We're not going all the way through the onion. You can see it's still fully intact, it's still staying together. But you can kind of open it up as well. So there's just one slice there and one slice there, and it goes to about there. We're going to turn the onion around, have the root facing away from us. So the root coming down like this, right? That's the root. Greens up here. So that's facing away from us. I'm going to use the tip of my knife. When I say this, I see people who come in like this and then they try and do that. Just use the tip of your knife and just down. And again, you're not cutting, you're cutting all the way to the board, but you're not cutting all the way through the root. The onion is still intact. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices. And again, onion is still intact. So now, I'm using my right hand to cut, so the root of the onion is to my left. And I'm just going to make some slices, and then the onion is all evenly cut, right? And now with this part, we're just going to make a few quick slices. And so the only bit of the onion we wasted is that little tiny bit with the root. Everything else, other than the peel, we're using, right? And they're all about the same size. Now, green onions. I'm going to use half a bunch here. I'll wash them first. Now we're actually going to separate the onions. We're going to cut them right about until that first stalk breaks off. So right about there. So we have the whites of our onions, and we have the greens of our onions. The whites are sturdier than the greens. They hold up better to heat. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cook these bits, and we're going to toss these bits in at the end. So we're going to take the whites, and we're just going to cut off the very, very end. Again, you don't want to waste anything more than you have to. So all I cut off was that. Kind of looks like hair, right? Like it's just a little tiny bit here. We don't want to waste. And then we're just going to cut this about the width of your pinky. Okay? And we're going to set those aside. Now garlic, we're going to use 2 cloves here. Just going to cut off the root end. Okay? And then we're going to crush it. So I was doing a class the other day and somebody said that he gets to this point and then he has trouble peeling the garlic. So if you cut off the root and then you try to peel it, you're halfway there. All you have to do is crush it with your knife, and then the peel comes right off, and then you just have your garlic. When you do crush it, be careful. Don't have the blade pointing towards you because your hand slips and goes into the blade. You're going to cut yourself. And don't smash your hand down. Just put it down, and just like you're giving CPR, just one nice big push. And then the peel generally comes right off. Okay, so get rid of that. And then we're just going to slice these nice and thin, and then we'll chop them. So just slice them as thin as you can. And we're going to bunch them up, and we're kind of going to turn the whole pile. Okay, just 90 degrees. And we're just going to chop it again. We don't want it too fine, but we also don't want to bite into big pieces of garlic. And we'll just set that aside as well. Now finally, I'm going to take, I have some curly parsley here. You can use flat leaf as well. This was just all they had at the store today. I'm just going to rinse this off. Squeeze as much of that water out of there as you can. And we're going to come over here. And I have some stems in here. This stuff is fine. It tastes just like parsley. It's good, especially where we're chopping it nice and fine. You really don't have to worry about the stems. Just leave them in there. And all we're going to do is ball this up into a nice tight bunch, and then we're going to chop. Now, you may be like, I'm sure you've seen chefs before chop really quickly. They're not even looking at what they're doing. The reason why we can do this is because the knife is touching our fingers. It's always in contact. So what I mean by that is the knife is always in contact with my fingers, like this. So because of that, I know where the blade is in relation to my fingers, and I can cut without really worrying about it. If my hand is way back here and my blade is here and I'm cutting and I look away or I get distracted, I don't know where my fingers are in relation to the blade, and I'm much more likely to cut myself. Okay? And now that we've gone over it once, I'm just going to really quickly go over again just to get it as small as I can. Okay. Give my hands a rinse. And now I have a stainless steel pan that I'm going to heat up over kind of medium heat. And let's go like just above medium. So my burner goes to 9. I have it on 6. Okay. Oh, that's right. So we're giving away this 6-pack of T North carbonated iced tea today. This is the only place in the entire world where you can get this. You can't buy it in stores yet. You can't even buy the cans in stores yet. And we have multiple flavors here. 6 different flavors. In fact, we have Blueberry Rodeo, Classic, Orange Creamsicle, Madagascar, Coconut, Berry Bliss, and Raspberry Vanilla Mint. Now, I'm about to ask you a question, and if you get the answer right, and you live within the HRM, I will hand deliver these to you, either tomorrow or Wednesday. And if you get the answer right and you live outside of the HRM, I will mail them to you. Now, this is only open to people watching the show live. Sorry to everybody watching it later. But here's the question. Again, if you get this right, I will hand deliver this to you in your house, anywhere in the HRM. Last week, I was drinking a can or a bottle of T North Organic Carbonated Iced Tea. And if you don't know what this is manufactured right in Bedford. It's really delicious. There's no sugar added. All the ingredients are organic. It's really, really cool. But last week I was drinking a bottle of it, and it was my favorite kind. It is one of these 6 kinds. First person to name that kind wins this mixed 6-pack of T North Carbonated Iced Tea. If you can name the flavor that I was drinking last week that I said was my favorite. And if nobody gets this week, we will push the draw till next week. That's what we're going to do. Okay, and again, if you win, I will hand deliver this to your house anywhere in the HRM. Okay, so we're just waiting for the pan to heat up. Should be almost there. I'm going to add a generous amount of olive oil. There's not much to the dressing in this. It's really just olive oil, a little bit of white wine vinegar, and some mustard. So we want a generous amount of olive oil. About 2 to 3 big tablespoons. And to this, we're going to add our red onion and our green onion, the white bits. I'm just going to toss that around a little bit. Let it cook for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll add our corn in there. So the pork has been in there for about 15 minutes. And what we can do now is take the pan out and flip the pork. It's really important too when you're like flipping the pork, remember which way you roll the bacon on, because you don't want to flip it so that you're unrolling the bacon. You know, roll towards the bacon. And there we go. We've got this nice, beautiful sear on there, so we're just going to pop this back in there. Turn the temperature. So I just put the temperature up to 400, and I put another 15-minute timer on there, 13 minutes, I guess. So the onions are starting to get a little brown, which is perfect. I'm going to add the corn in here. And again, just toss it. And the corn was raw. When we cut it, it wasn't pre-cooked or anything like that. And we want to try and get a little bit of color on the corn from the pan. So just let it sit for a minute. The little color is going to kind of draw out the sweetness of the corn. Now we just wait. Does anybody know what kind of iced tea I was drinking in last week's episode? To win your very own 6-pack of mixed T North iced tea. I don't know. Or are you commenting and I just can't read them because of this piece of junk computer? Oh, no, my wife is commenting. Okay, cool. I can see them. So we're just going to do this for a couple of minutes. Yeah. What else? What else do I have written down here? So I should say again that this show is sponsored by T North Carbonated Iced Tea and Ashworks cutting boards, which is beautiful end grain cutting board I'm using here, and all these ones as well. My wife just asked if she can guess. I don't think that's fair. Also, I don't know if you would know the answer, but no, you cannot guess. I'm sorry. These cutting boards are handmade in Sackville. They're beautiful. I got a chance to go down to the shop a couple of weeks ago. It was really cool. I get to see all the things they're working on. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up. Oh, this Juanita saw me drink it, but she forgot what kind. So, corn is kind of, the starches are starting to draw out of corn and they're starting to stick to the pan, which is fine. The corn's getting nice and warm. Everything's cooking. I'm going to add the garlic in here now, as well as a little bit of salt and pepper. And we'll stir it up. Now, like I said, the starch is coming out of the corn and it's kind of sticking to the bottom and it's turning brown. That's perfect because when we add the vinegar in here and that mustard, it's going to lift all that off the bottom of the pan, and that's going to add sweetness and some flavor to our sauce. Okay? And now the garlic, we're only going to cook for about a minute. I just turned the heat down a touch, just down to medium. We're going to add the potatoes in. And it's okay to scrape that stuff off the bottom as well. It's just going to help it get into the sauce. So that's perfect. Okay, vinegar. I have white wine vinegar here. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons. Don't hold your face over the pan. You don't want to breathe that in directly. And now, really quickly, nice big handful of spinach. And just let it sit for a minute. The spinach is going to cook down a little bit, and then just kind of gradually start to stir the spinach in. And as the heat hits it, it's going to cook down, and all that spinach is pretty much just going to disappear. Just stir it in. You're going to notice too, liquid's going to come out of the spinach. It's going to add to the sauce. Just going to, add a little more flavor, all that good stuff. And so this salad is kind of like your whole side dish, right? Like you're getting your potatoes, your corn, spinach, onions. It's everything in one, so you don't have to make a couple different side dishes. You just have this with pork. We're going to make a glaze in a minute that's going to be really delicious. So it just kind of makes it easier. It's a lot less cleanup, than doing like 3 or 4 different sides. Okay, so that spinach is pretty much cooked down into there. It looks really, really good. Now I'm just going to take this off the heat. I'm going to add a nice big teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Going to add our parsley in here. And we're just going to stir it up. And just so you can kind of see what's happening. Guys, this looks really good. let's just give that a taste. Mmm. That was really good. Cool. We'll just throw the rest of that parsley in there. Then we're just going to set this aside and leave it. And then we're going to make a really quick sour honey glaze. So all we're going to do, it's going to be really simple. We're going to take about 2 tablespoons of honey. We're going to mix it with about 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. And add a bit of salt and pepper. And add just a touch, about a half teaspoon of Dijon mustard. We're going to mix this up. And I know I forgot to say honey on the ingredients list. I'm sorry. But it is in the name of the dish, so hopefully you figured that out. Okay, and now here we have... Oh, that's good. It's kind of sweet and sour glaze for the pork. We have about 5 minutes left on the timer. I feel like the pork's going to take a little bit longer, but that's okay. We're going to pull it out and we're going to put some of this glaze on it. But first we're actually going to drain some of the fat out of the pan. Just because if we put the glaze in the pan with the fat, it's not really going to do much. The fat's just going to kind of dilute the glaze and we're not going to get much out of it. I'm just going to hold the pork in place, pour the fat off. And those are actually almost done. We'll get into that in a second about how to tell. I'm just going to spoon a bit of this glaze over. Okay, and we're not going to spoon it all over. We're going to reserve a little bit so that we'll have some more for the end. Our crumble is almost done. Our pork is almost done. And our salad is done. So once the pork comes out, it's just going to need to rest for a couple of minutes before we cut it. Hello, Deanna. So, Deanna, I don't know if you heard, but we are doing a giveaway today. If you can name the T-North iced tea that I drank last week on the show, then you will win this 6-pack. And then if you live in the HRM, I will deliver it to you. Otherwise, I will mail it to you wherever you live. In Canada. Let's say that, in Canada. Oh, and I also have to say that Facebook is in no way affiliated, nor do they endorse this giveaway. And Facebook is in no way liable for anything, ever. Okay? Alright, so, I mean, now we're just kind of going to wait a couple minutes, guys. I plan this out. Great, I guess. I should have had another starter or something. I don't know, I got nothing to throw together. What else is going on? I've been sick, pretty much since last week's episode. Almost lost my voice completely. My wife is now getting sick. Yeah, that's about it. Just gonna wait a couple seconds. I feel like that crumble is actually done. So I'm gonna pull that out. So I can tell it's done because it's nice and bubbly around the edges. Crumbles nice and crisp. It smells amazing. I almost dropped an F-bomb there. It smells really, really good. I'm just going to set that back there. Our pork is coming along. I'm just going to give it a quick roll onto its side. So that doesn't want to crisp up. The bottom doesn't really want to crisp up. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Guys? Any food questions, anything like that? Oh, I was talking about these boards. Right. So these are Ashworks boards. You can find them at ashworks.ca. They're beautiful. I'm sorry to hear that. Deanna said she's been sick too. That's not good. I think it's just that kind of year. Yeah, like I said, these boards are made in Sackville. They're beautiful. They're very artistically put together. You should check them out. It's all I use now. I love them very much. What else? What else is going on? I don't know, guys. I haven't really been cooking too much because I haven't been feeling very well. Let's talk about little old me. What do? So if you don't know, if you just tuned into the show and you don't really know what I do, I do this free cooking class, but I also do paid cooking classes. I teach. I go to people's houses and teach cooking classes or dinner parties as well. You can check all that out at chefbenkelly.com if you're so inclined. I also do a daily podcast called Food in 5, which you can find pretty much everywhere, where you can just go Anchor, that's Anchor, ANCHOR.FM. Oh, Patrick, you got it, Patrick. Yes. Patrick has just won a 6-pack of Tea North carbonated iced tea. Patrick, do you live within the HRN? I feel like you do. I think you do, but I don't know. So Patrick, if you do, I'm going to be seeing you soon. I'll be dropping these off either tomorrow or the next day. Patrick, perfect. So if you want to send me a message just on my Facebook page here and tell me your address and when the best time to drop these off would be, and I will hand deliver these beautiful Tea North carbonated iced teas right to your door. Alright, so just send me a message. Don't put your address on here. Just send it to me and I will drop them off to you. Thanks for playing. Yeah. Oh, podcast, anchor.fm/food in 5. 5 days a week, I do a food podcast. It's usually under 5 minutes. There's lots you can learn. I also do a podcast, or that is my podcast. I also do a blog called How to Not Burn Shit. It's on howtonotburnshit.com. I do that 3 days a week. All kinds of interesting stuff. But I mean, if you're on my Facebook page, you've probably seen all of this stuff before. And now I'm just kind of rambling to fill time. So there you go. Okay. So this big one's done. So we're going to take that out of here. We're going to let that rest for a minute. Now, pork freaks a lot of people out. You're welcome, Patrick. Thanks for playing. It freaks a lot of people out, especially kind of older generations, because they grew up in a world where, pork was dangerous because it could have trichinosis. Trichinosis is very, very uncommon now, so it is completely okay to eat pork slightly pink. And I mean, I know people who eat it as far as kind of, medium. I prefer like kind of mid-well is my limit. But if it's a little pink, it's okay. Now, pork tenderloin is one of the few meats that I find kind of works for the finger test. So you may have seen this before. I've talked about it before in terms of chicken. So to me, this works really well for chicken, New York strip loin, and pork, tenderloin specifically, but it works for pork chops as well. And the technique is kind of like you hold, what is it? So this would be kind of blue rare. If you just hold your hand open, no tension, you just kind of push this fat part of your thumb. If you close it, again, no tension, you're just kind of putting your fingers together. That's kind of rare. And then you get into medium. I guess that'd be rare, medium, medium well, and well. Okay? So for pork, you're kind of looking for your ring finger, right? You don't really want to push, or you're not like squeezing these two fingers together, you're just gently putting them together and pushing right there. You can go as far as your middle finger, yeah, but I would recommend going as far as your ring finger. So the idea is you kind of poke here, and should be about the same. Okay? Now, that other one went in the pan a little later than that one, so we're going to leave that in for an extra minute or two. And I should really let this rest a little bit longer, but I also want to get you guys on your way because we've been going for about an hour. So let's do this. I'm going to go a potato salad down here first. And again, this is the only side, right? So make sure you get a nice amount of it. Make sure you get some corn in there. Tighten that up. And now, so you can see it's nice and brown on the top, but that didn't really go through on the bottom. I didn't have it on the bottom rack. I had the Peach Crumble. Sorry. Hi Heather, thanks for joining me. Nice to see you. Also, hi Joel, thank you. So, I mean, the bacon's cooked. It's just not crispy. My bad. I'm hungry. You could heat the pan back up and crisp it up really quickly, but I just kind of want to eat it. So I'm going to cut it. Beautiful. And you may see, especially if you do this a day ahead, you may see like a pink ring on the outside of the pork. And that's actually going to be from the nitrites in the bacon. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay. So you can see this is beautifully cooked. It's nice and juicy. And we're just going to spread this out here, just around. And then we'll put a little bit of our glaze over to finish it. And there we have our bacon wrapped pork tenderloin with our sour honey glaze and our warm potato and corn salad. Beautiful. And we have our crumble here, which I'll plate up really quick. I'm just going to take this tenderloin out. Big scoop of this. That is beautiful. There's a nice amount of caramel on the bottom of the pan. Peaches are cooked through. I'm not going to put the ice cream on this. I don't want the ice cream to melt because I actually want to eat this. But, so here we go. And I'm just going to serve this with a nice big scoop of vanilla ice cream on it. It smells amazing. The peaches they still have a little texture to them, but they're soft. There's a beautiful caramel in there, which you can see. Oh, it tastes amazing. So there you go, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me. If you end up cooking this, or if you cooked along, which I don't think anybody was cooking along tonight, but that's okay. If you do end up cooking this, please share some pictures. I always love to see it. I haven't decided what we're going to make next week yet, but you will know on Wednesday. That's it. That's all I got. Patrick, please send me a message so I know where to take the tea. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next week right here on Dinner with Ben. Next week is episode 12. I can't believe we've been doing this for 12 weeks. 12 weeks. It's crazy. Guys, thanks again. I'll see you later.